course, after 16 years of marriage and single at 39, I share my mistakes and experiences to help your marriage, improve your dating life, and prepare you for life after divorce. What's up, everybody? It's been a while. How you doing? Welcome to the TRADWIFE podcast. It's been about, I think, 3 weeks since my last live, and I apologize for the delay in this, but I've really been, believe it or not, I've been working on the show for about a week now, because tonight we're going to be talking about TRADWIFEs. And honestly, how much does it cost? If you think about it, how much does it cost to afford a TRADWIFE? And for those who don't know what a TRADWIFE is, we're going to get to that in just a minute, but it's more or less a stay-at-home mother is what it is. And growing up, that definitely was an option. That was a regular everyday thing. As a matter of fact, I recall growing up as a kid, every time after school, I would go to my friend's house. We would play the Sega Master System or his brand new Nintendo NES. We would go, and it would be his mom. His mom would be there making sandwiches or making us lunch after school. That was a regular thing. And believe it or not, the guys, fathers, the men that, that I knew and called sir, these guys worked construction. They were garbage men. Because keep in mind, I come from a low income family. My parents picked cotton, for Christ's sake. My dad worked in the fields and busted his ass his entire life to give me the education that he wanted me to have. He never wanted me breaking my back in the fields. So that's where I come from. So that's all the men that I knew around me. And these men, some of them were clerks at the post office, believe it or not. And clerks at the post office in the late 80s made $38,000, maybe 40. And they had been there about 12 years or so, believe it or not. And with $40,000, these men were able to afford a TRADWIFE, a stay-at-home mother. They were able to afford 2 cars, buy a home, go on vacation, and send his son to a private school, and buy his sons the latest Jordans that came out. So, and again, that's just with a salary of $40,000 in what, late 80s, early 90s. And as you can imagine now, that's not realistic in today's day and age. You can't afford anything at $39,000. I mean, if you do, God bless you. I don't know how you're doing it, but it's practically impossible. So the reason I want to talk about that is a video that I stitched regarding a TRADWIFE. And before I get to that, I want to do this real quick. I want to do some housekeeping. If you haven't done so already, you want to be a YouTube channel member. My YouTube channel members, I totally have 3 right now. Sean, Troy, and Dario, you are the folks. You are the man. I appreciate your support. And my Facebook subscribers, Dar, Melissa, and Blair, thank you so much for your support. I really do appreciate that. Anything you contribute to the show is going to go to the show's overhead and the cost of kind of doing the podcast and such. So please, if you want to donate, I'm also on Patreon. I really would appreciate that. Other housekeeping duties is that, believe it or not, Facebook, once again, somebody has reported me for hate speech, and I do not understand that. I mean, again, maybe it's censorship, maybe it's the way I deliver items, but people seem to not like my message on Facebook. I can be a little blunt. I can own up to that, but I've been reported for hate speech and been demonetized on Facebook once again. When that'll lift, I have no idea, but FYI, that's the latest with that. And as of late, I wanted to make another formal announcement real quick. There's been some personal family matters that have come up late, and there's been some adjustments on my end. I don't want to get too much in the details as far as, the sensitivity of it, but more or less, like, my fiance is more or less going to have to be a stay-at-home mom. So this conversation tonight is really kind of relevant to my personal life and what other people are going through, and relevant to the topic. And she's probably going to have to be a stay-at-home mother probably in a year and a half. So I'll be honest with everybody, because I've always been honest with you and transparent with everything. TikTok has been a blessing to me. I shared my divorce and what I went through, and everything took off. I shared my mistakes on TikTok, and everything kind of took off. And I've always appreciated the help that I've given people who've gone through their dark moments. And I guess I took it as a hobby. Like, this whole thing has been a hobby of mine. And it's a good hobby because I've helped thousands of people all over the world. Countless men message me telling me I saved their lives in some form or fashion when they watched a video of mine. I've just spoken to many men all over the world and women. And I felt this is a good hobby to have. I have a great job. I'm doing well over here. But I've always treated this as a wonderful hobby. And with as of late with my fiance, this in certain events happening, uh, I think it's time for me to take this. Not, I don't want to say seriously, but I want to go with a more of a business mindset and approach with this. And I've actually consulted Vinny, the breakup coach, who's doing well. My friend Paul, when Come On Bro, Come On Man podcast. My friend Ralph with DSO, because these guys have built, this hobby into a business. And I think it's time for me. I know, as a matter of fact, I know it's time for me to make that jump. I really mean that. It's time for me to make that jump. It's time for me. This is my passion. And this is an appropriate time right now to make this happen. So what I'm doing right now, what I have been doing is just kind of reevaluating my content and what matters and how I can help men going through divorce and women, of course, women, but really I want to focus on men. Ladies have always reached out to me. So thank you for being fair when it comes to relationships, not, vilifying women, not vilifying men. Because I agree, there's toxicity on both ends when it comes to dating. There's bad women, there's bad men, and I've always called that out. So I reached out to them. I'm kind of revamping my coaching program. I'm going to be more available to other people for one-on-ones. I'm going to make more products as far as surviving divorce, how to get over breakups, things of that nature. So it's been taking time. And I want to let everybody know I'm dedicating myself fully to this now. I really want this to launch and be a brand, a full brand. And I want to just call myself out and let everybody know this is going to happen. I'm going to make this happen. I want to make this happen because with private things as they are right now, I need to make this happen. So again, I'm being very transparent with everybody when it comes to that. I'll share more later on when I have my fiance on the podcast. She's going to be live with me in a couple weeks, maybe a month or so. But she's going to be more involved in that to get the female perspective on things. But I just wanted everybody I wanted to share as much as I could with everybody so you know what's going on. And again, Jeanette, thank you for the live. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. It's Sabian. Sabian, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. So again, if you'd like to sign up for anything early as far as my coaching programs, the email address is going to be at the bottom. I'm setting up a calendar. I'm setting up an appointment schedule. But if you want to get in early on the coaching programs of how to survive a divorce, what to do during a divorce, and also how to get over heartbreaks, just email me at rootadvice@gmail.com and just say, hey, I'm interested. That's all you have to put. And I'll save your email address and send out the notifications once they're available. And again, I'm getting really serious about this, and I just want everybody to know that, okay? So again, this topic tonight about TRADWIFEs, going back to the main topic, what does it cost to have one? Now, I understand you can be very frugal and live paycheck to paycheck. You can really minimize your expenses and just buy clothes at Goodwill. You can do a lot of things, buy cars for cash. But what does it cost nowadays to actually have the option to have a TRADWIFE at home, to have a stay-at-home wife and have her, do all the homely things that this one creator has made very famous? Her name is, let me see what her name is. What is her name? I don't know her name. Her name is, I think, Candace. And she's been, I guess, making the round. She's been on Dr. Phil. She's been on a few other shows. And she's been promoting this TRADWIFE mentality. She's very beautiful. I'll give her that. She's gorgeous. She has like that 50s dress outfits. And for those on TikTok, if you want to see the pictures that I'm showing, go to Facebook or YouTube and you can see at the screens that I'm sharing there, okay? Anyway, she's got the 50s dress. You can see her up there. And she's promoting an idea. And it's that more or less that Warren Cleaver 50s housewife type of look, which if you think about it in reality, I mean, if you are a stay-at-home wife, you're not going to get dolled up and put makeup and make your hair all nice and wear a pretty dress when your husband's working 12 hours a day. He's never going to see you. So that's just a facade, just FYI. That's not realistic on what women actually look like when they're home. I mean, that's just an image. And bravo to her for the branding and what she's done. But a TRADWIFE, I'm going to read the description here. What is a TRADWIFE? A TRADWIFE is a term for a woman who prefers to adhere to the traditional gender roles and marriages, and who may believe in or practice traditional sex roles. The term became popular on social media and blogs in 2016 and embraces the 1950s housewife ideal of cleaning, cooking, and being subservient to their men. Okay? Trans wives often identify as Christian conservatives and believe they don't sacrifice women's rights, but taking on the homemaker role within their marriage. Now, I know a lot of women would probably have some issues with that description because, of course, with Harrison as a butler, the kicker for the the Kansas City Chiefs. He's kind of went viral giving that speech about saying his wife's life began when she became a mother, and his wife, etc. Like she didn't exist before. You know, whatever your beliefs are with that, if you're a Christian and very far right conservative, that message probably landed at home with you, and that's what you want. To others, it didn't, and we've seen the backlash on that. But more or less, that's their space in their area, and that's what the term TRADWIFE means. Now, what does it cost to have a TRADWIFE, right? And what are the necessities to obtain and support one? Well, let's break this down. Let's go back to the very beginning, okay? What if you want a TRADWIFE, you're going to have to propose and buy her an engagement ring, right? That's definitely an item that you're going to have to acquire. Then you're going to have the wedding and honeymoon. That's going to cost money as well. A home or apartment, whatever that may be, whatever floats your boat. Food, groceries, utilities, transportation, gas, and insurance for the vehicle. And then there's basic entertainment. And I've broken this down for everybody. Okay. I've broken this down to the cents. Like I said, I have been working on this thing for a week, and I'm going to give you some stats right now. Okay. So let's go over just the necessities. Okay. And I know, just putting this out there, everyone's situation is different. When you see these numbers, you're going to say, oh, really, that's ridiculous. That doesn't cost that much. Of course it doesn't in your area. I'm giving you the national average. That's what I'm giving you. Okay. So if it doesn't apply to you, great. You're in a better position than most people, but I'm going off the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics. That's where this information is coming from. I'm not just pulling it out of nowhere. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about this. Take a guess. I'm looking at the chats right now. Everybody, thank you for participating. I really do appreciate that. But let me ask everybody, what do you think the national average salary is in the U.S. right now? Okay, let me ask everyone. I'm going to throw it out there. I'm going to hold on. What is the national average salary do you think a person makes annually? Okay, MX Luffy says 55K. Jess says 75K. Isabelli says 60,000. Okay, those are reasonable guesses. And this is a national average, okay? National average. Janelle here says about 60. Okay, so get this. The national average right now, annually, is $59,384. That's the average, okay? That comes down to a monthly income of $4,949. Now, keep in mind, this is before taxes. So when you hear people talking, you say, hey, what do you make a year? Oh, I make about $105,000 a year. Yes, they do. But then after taxes, they really are bringing in about $80,000, depending on your state income tax, etc. So remember that you're not really bringing in $60,000. You're actually bringing in 45, maybe 50. Okay, that's the reality of it. And I was a home loan officer with USAA for 12 years. I never understood why we qualified people before taxes. I never understood that because it's a big discrepancy after the taxes are taken out. We all know and seen what Uncle Sam has done to our checks. But that's the national average for annual and monthly income, okay? And I have it all tallied up, so you don't have to write it down. Now, let me ask you this. For an engagement ring, what do you think the national average cost for an engagement ring is? And I'll get to the comments in a bit. Sean, I see you, buddy. Thank you. I'll get to you in a bit, man. I just want to go through this PowerPoint first. All right. Somebody says $7,000, $4,000, $3,600. Johnny Boy, $9,000. This is me says $2K. Emily Jones says about $3,000. Again, this is a national average, right? Of course, we know there's women out there who want like a $20,000 ring, a $50,000 ring. I'm not talking about them. That's not the average. Those are the exceptions. But okay, an engagement ring. Okay. The national average for an engagement ring is $5,500. And that is from here's the description. Engagement, according to the Knot 2023 Jewelry and Engagement Study, the average cost for an engagement ring was about $5,500. However, the cost can vary depending on location. The 4 C's of a diamond, the metal, the setting, and the number of stones. For example, in 2022, mid-Atlantic couples spent an average of $8,400, while Midwestern couples spent an average of $5,200. So it varies. So guys, if you want the first step to, again, get a TRADWIFE, you have to shell out at least an average of $5,500 cash out of your pocket. Now, you may have a woman like my fiance, I'm not going to disclose, but she wanted a nice ruby. We want it to be untraditional. So there may be women out there who don't want a diamond. They want to do something else, tattoo bands, whatever the case is. So again, I understand that this may not apply to you, but again, this is off the national average. So $5,500 is what we're looking at for an engagement ring. Now, here's the fun one. What is the national average for a honeymoon and wedding? I'll wait for you. I'm waiting in the chats. What do you think the national average is for a wedding and a honeymoon? $45,000. Someone says $30,000, $60,000. It's amazing that we're at that price, right? I'll go over the price in a bit, but isn't that amazing? $47,000, Johnny boy. $25,000. And you know what? All of you are somewhat right. And let me explain. Here's a website right here. It's called how much, or more or less, the average wedding. Now, believe it or not, weddings, in my opinion, are a heist. It's a waste of money, but it actually does vary depending on your state. And I'm sharing screens so everybody can see right now. I'll go over a few of them. Alabama, $34,000 for a wedding. California, $41,000. Let's see here. Georgia, $30,000. Maine, $44,000. I'm in Texas. Texas, $32,000. Vermont is $44,000. Utah is the cheapest, believe it or not, $17,000. I don't know if that has to do with religion or just tradition. I don't know. But hey, Utah's got it right. So that, again, so the national average for a wedding, believe it or not, is $30,000. And for the honeymoon, keep in mind, I purposely left it out of here. A honeymoon, the national average is $5,000. So again, wedding and honeymoon, you are already out of pocket for $35,000. And then if you add the engagement ring, what does that tally up to? $40,500. That's what we're talking about. That's what I'm talking about so far. So again, let's continue on here. Now we're going to talk about a home, right? Because she needs a place to clean, right? She's a TRADWIFE, right? She's going to be cleaning and cooking, doing all the things. So let me ask everybody here. What is a national average cost for a home in the U.S.? What is the average cost for a home in the United States of America today? And again, 350K is what somebody says. Okay, 400K, 350K, 400K. We're almost at $500,000 for a home. Can you believe that? You want to hear a funny story? Me and my ex-wife bought our first home for $45,000. Our mortgage payment was $350 with taxes and insurance. And we sold it. I should have kept it. That home would have been a great rental. Then we bought our 4-bedroom home, 3.5 baths in 2024 for $130,000. And now the national average cost for a home in the United States is $500,000. $495,000 is what the average cost for a home is. Now, again, I understand, hey, we'll rent. And I've seen people buy those sheds at Lowe's or Home Depot and buy some land and, live off that. Hey, if you're a minimalist, great. I'm proud of you. That's what we all should do. That's the way we all should follow. But the average cost for a home, for the TRADWIFE to live in and clean and you to live in and raise your kids, is $500,000. $500,000. Now, since I was a loan officer, I fucking broke this down to the cent. Let me tell you how much it cost. The down payment alone for that type of home, with let's just say 5% down. Now I know there's types of different plans, 100% financing for some states, depends on what you're looking at, but 5% is $24,755 for the down payment. A lot of people forget about the closing costs. Closing costs usually average 3% of the loan amount. Usually. Again, I'm speaking in generalities here on averages. So the average closing cost for that home is $14,853. And if you break that down with with taxes and with insurance, your monthly payment on a home is $3,786 a month. And if you're thinking, well, I'm going to rent a home, then I'm going to rent a home or rent an apartment. I broke that down too. The average rental cost for a home varies from $1,500 to $2,521. Okay, and that's for the home. Now, what is the national monthly cost for groceries? Let me ask everybody here. We're all families, right? We all eat food. We all buy groceries every month. What do you spend a month on groceries? Because cooking, right? She needs to cook. She needs food to cook, so you need to eat. So what do you spend a month on groceries? What do you think a couple, let's not even include kids for right now. What do you think a couple, man and wife, spend a month on groceries? Kids, shit. I can tell you right now that's $1,000 easily, especially if you got teenagers that are growing easily. Hey, Cody, renting isn't much cheaper. It's all money that's being pissed away. You move out and you're back to square one. I agree. Groceries may as well be a mortgage payment nowadays. I agree. For example, everybody knows me and my fiance have a son, right? A can of Similac is $50. And a box of just Huggies diapers, a box, that's $50. So that's $100 already for a can of Similac and Pampers. And again, what I'm factoring in is not even a kid, but that's how much, that's $100 for Similac and diapers. It's insane. But $500 to $1,000 is the average for a family in the United States. And again, $500 is for a couple of two. If you eat moderately, you don't make a pig of yourself. $1,000 is really for a family of four, is what the cost is. And again, if you have teenagers, forget it. They are going to chomp away and eat like crazy. Let's see here. The average cost of groceries for U.S. households is, the average cost for groceries for U.S. households is $5,703 based on the data on the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics based off data from late 2023. This works out to about $475 a month. Grocery spending increased 8.4% in 2022. The latest data available versus 2021. A different measure of food prices can give you a more recent check of how food prices are trending. They're all going upward. And that's, again, based off everything I'm getting, all this data I'm getting from the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics. So it's all factual. All right, so there we go. Oh, yeah, there's pet food, Janelle. Thank you for bringing that up, Janelle. If you got pets, 4K to 5K, but that's pet food, everything. Wow. That's insane. Yeah, the pets, if you got a big dog, I forgot about that. Babies. I know a lot of us in the Latino community, we're taking care of our parents because Social Security is just ridiculous. For Social Security and disability is ridiculous for elderly people. So a lot of us are taking care of our parents as well. So everyone's situation is different. I totally acknowledge that. I really do. Now, this one kind of made me laugh. What is the national average monthly cost for utilities? And when I say utilities, I mean your electric bill and your water bill. And some states I know has like trash and disposal, but again, some states don't. But what do you think the national average cost is for utilities is? Take a wild guess. I'm looking at the chat. You caught my attention on this topic, yeah. Pink Lady says, I'm a trad wife and wouldn't trade it for anything. Well, good for you. You're blessed. You really are. Somebody says $350 for utilities. Somebody says $200 single, $200, $500, $200. Wow. Okay. $800 a month. Yes, it can vary. But again, this is a national average, $328. In the United States, residents should plan to spend at least $328 per month on essential utilities like electricity, natural gas, water, and sewer. Depending on where you live and the container size, you should budget $25 to $100 for trash and garbage collection. I put this as BS because in Texas, when it's 105 degrees and the heat index has it feeling like 115 and that humidity is like a hot shower, that is just my electric bill. $320 is simply just my electric bill. That's it. And if you add, gas, and you also, I don't have gas, but it's electric. But if you add CPS, I'm paying $500 a month in utilities. I'm sharing that with you, but that is my electric bill in the summer months in Texas. So 325 for everything. That's wishful thinking. Oh God, I'm going to live with my parents forever. Emily, I don't mean to discourage you, but I'd rather you hear from me because my daughter's 20, living with her mom. She goes, I want to move into an apartment with my boyfriend. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Let me break this down for you. So everything I'm telling you, I told my 20-year-old daughter who's a junior in college, like, no, you're not going to do that. Not yet. All right, now we're going to talk about cars, vehicles. We need to drive, right? And usually if you have a TRADWIFE, you're taking the vehicle home. I mean, you're taking the vehicle to work. She's going to need a vehicle to go get groceries or run errands and get her hair did and nails. So let me ask everybody, what do you think the national average payment for a car is? I'll wait. Let me look at some comments here. $290 a month. That's great. Oh, that's your electric bill. My bad. Somebody says almost $700, $1,000, $600. Holy crap. Are y'all rolling in negative equity on this? Like you trading in $800, $600, $700, $1,000? Thank you for the heart, Lena. I really appreciate that. Any tips are going to go to the overhead of the show, everybody. So again, send them my way. I really do appreciate this. Your truck payment is $800. Damn it, Cody. Wow. That's insane. That is insane. Wow. All right. So everyone's saying about $600, $500, $800, $1,000. Well, guess what? The national average payment for a car is $600 a month. That's a national average. Now, what I did also factor in is your monthly cost for fuel and auto insurance. Now, I know this varies. I know there's a lot of people like my ex-wife and her husband. They called me and they go, hey, how much is your insurance? We're insuring 2 vehicles. And it came out to almost $450. And like, we don't have any accidents. What's going on? Oh, because the national rates and things that are happening, rates are going up for everybody. So you can have a clean driving record, but you're still getting screwed by paying the national average and the adjustments for that. So again, $600 for just the car to Ford Chevrolet, whatever your Ford Chevrolet, that makes no sense. That's just for the car payment. But again, $130 to $200 for fuel. I bet on the truck that's going to vary because it costs like $89 just to fill up once for a week. And then auto insurance, the national average is $184 a month for auto insurance. And again, for those who are just joining me right now, I am talking about what does it cost to have a TRADWIFE? Again, she's at home, she's cooking, she's cleaning. What does a young man have to make to support that lifestyle? Okay. And again, this is one vehicle, ladies and gentlemen. I said 2 because she's going to need a car to go get groceries while you're driving off to work and making that money, right? So times that by 2. That's now $1,200 for payments for 2 cars. $400 a month in fuel and almost $300 a month in insurance. There you go. There you go. All right. So, and again, I have it all. You're going to be proud of me. I have it all itemized at the end. So I'm going to break down the cost and how short you are, things of that nature. Okay. Now, entertainment. You need to go out, right? You just can't be working all the time. You can't be just working and coming home and just eating dinner and going to bed. I mean, you need to go to a concert every now and then. You need to go to the movies. I mean, I love movies, right? Obviously. You need to go to movies. You need to take her out to dinner. At least I'm factoring in this equation 2 dinners, like 2 dates a month. So everybody, what do you think the average would be for entertainment every month? I'm talking just fun money, going to a bar, having some drinks, checking out a show, going to go see Frozen on Broadway, whatever the hell it is. How much do you think entertainment just costs? Just fun money. Somebody says $300, $1,000, $1,000. $1,000. Wow. $1,000 play money. Wow. Okay. I know, Troy. I know. That I'll get into that later, Janelle. I'll get into that later. Okay, so someone's saying 250, 500. You know what? And I appreciate the variety in responses. So for somebody to say $1,000 says a completely different lifestyle for the majority of us. Okay, but if that's your norm, I appreciate you sharing that. Okay. Kimberly says life doesn't need to cost that much. You don't need expensive cars, fancy entertainment, etc. I get that. But keep in mind, the cost of the vehicle that I went over is just like for a standard vehicle. I'm not talking for anything cooped up or like a Tesla or anything. These are just basic vehicles. You know that the Ford Maverick is supposed to be an economic vehicle, like an entry-level vehicle that costs on paper on the website $24,000. But if you go to any dealership, they've marked it up so damn much, it's like $35,000. So come on. Anyway, the cost of entertainment, movies, one movie a month, $50. And that is 2 tickets and some popcorn, about $50. A concert, get this, concerts are expensive. Anybody who went to that Taylor Swift concert, you're banking in money because those tickets were like $1,400, $5,000. I don't know how you can afford that. But according to SeatGeek, the average price has doubled in the last 5 years for a concert or a show, from $125 a ticket in 2019 to $250 to $500 a ticket. And that's in the last 5 years that tickets have gone up. So I have $500 if you want to take her to a show or go see Stained or like, I don't know, Journey or something like that. It's going to cost money. And then you buy a beer at these venues, 2 beers. Oh, that'd be $50. Like, really? This is just a 12-ounce beer and it's $50 for 2? Okay. Then you buy a concert shirt, right? $45 for a t-shirt. It adds up, is what I'm trying to say. And dinner, 2 outings, $200. That's $100 an outing. That's like a nice dinner, a couple of drinks, and a good tip. Do that twice a month. That's about $200 a month. So if you add all it up, that's $750 a month in entertainment. Do Blu-rays count? Shut up. Yeah, $200 for dinner and a show. That's standard. Yeah. What's the last concert me and the fiance went? We went and saw Bad Religion and Social Distortion about a month ago. 2 tickets was about $350, and then we spent about $100 at the venue for souvenirs and drinks. So it adds up. It's not cheap to go to a show anymore. Not anymore. Okay. So again, let's recap here. Let's recap everything I've talked about here. So the upfront cost to start to have a TRADWIFE, I went over an engagement ring, honeymoon and wedding, and the down payment for the home. $5,500 for the engagement ring, $30,000 for the wedding and honeymoon, $24,755 for the down payment, closing costs $14,853. That's just to get married and get a home. Upfront cost is $75,108. So that's how much you're in the hole for a wedding, engagement ring, and down payment and closing costs for a home. That's a lot of money already. Now, if you were smart, if I were to advise any couple right now, I'd say the hell with the wedding. Go and get married at the courthouse. Save that money. That money, that $30,000 you were going to spend feeding other people and not even enjoying yourself because you're running around all over the place saying hi to friends and family that you haven't seen in years, and they're eating a $40 plate. You're wasting money, in my opinion. Take that money and buy a home. Take that money and invest in an IRA, some investment stock. Buy $30,000 worth of Amazon stock. Do something smart. Don't blow it on an overpriced wedding that most of us don't even enjoy because you're so stressed and worried out of your mind. You don't even get a chance to enjoy your wedding at times. You just want the photos and all that BS. I say screw that tradition and just skip the wedding. Just go to the courthouse, get married, and save that money. Do yourself a favor and do that. But if you come from a different life that I don't know, like I told you, my parents picked cotton. I'm the first generation of anything to do anything with my life, financial wise. If that's an option for you, if your dad's going to shell it out, you come from wealth, and this is nothing to you. You're technically not out of pocket. But for the average couple who is self-starting, doing their own thing, that's how much it costs to get married and get an engagement ring. Yeah. And I know every situation is varied. But again, it's that expensive. That's the upfront cost to start the TRADWIFE fiasco thing. All right. Now, what does it cost to have a TRADWIFE? Let's break down the monthly expenses, okay? As I mentioned, the home and apartment, the monthly payment for that home, was $3,786 a month, and that's just for your house. Food, $500. Utilities, $328, which is BS. Adding up your car payment, your gas, and insurance, that's $984 a month for one car. One car. And then entertainment at $750, which that tallies up to $6,348 a month. That is what you need to be making as a young man, 22, 23, 24, 25. You need to be bringing that minimum to even begin toying with the idea of having a stay-at-home wife. Well, Rudy, what does that come out to annually? Oh, $76,176 a year. And to keep in mind, that is after taxes. So again, for people who say, oh, I made $100,000, I make $100,000 with my job. Do you really? Do you bring that home, or is that before taxes? Because again, after taxes, if you're making $100,000 a year, after taxes, you're really bringing in 80, maybe 75, depending on your state. Uncle Sam has been pretty fucking, they take their piece. They take their piece, okay? So after taxes is what you need to be bringing in, $76,000 a month, a year. So that means for a young man, you'd have to be making at least $100,000 to even toy with the idea. Was health insurance there? Oh, no. I left a lot of stuff out, and I'll go over that in a bit. So again, you need to make that much. Now, to us older guys like myself, that's no problem because I'm 47. I've been in the workforce for a long time, and you should be, I hope to God you are in that sort of range. But to a young 25-year-old guy who just got out of college, if you're making that much, then bravo. You probably have connections. You probably got a job at your dad's place, or you're doing something well. And I applaud you for having that type of money and bringing the income at such a young age. Maybe you a business owner, right? You're savvy, you're smart, and you own a business, you own a car wash, whatever the case is. You come from wealth and you have a good nest egg or a trust fund, then you are in a blessed position because the rest of us are really hurting out here. I know too many men right now who went to school. I'm talking my age, who went to school, got their bachelor's degree, got their master's degree, went to corporate America, and been in corporate America for over 20 years. They're making about $120,000 a year. And you know what these guys are doing when they log off of work at 5 o'clock? They're going and delivering food for DoorDash because, again, they have a stay-at-home wife, but that money is not what it used to be. When you look at the rate of inflation versus the rate of like salaries, there's no comparison. So when I saw that video of that young woman saying that, ladies, if the guy doesn't provide for you, he simply doesn't have what it takes to be a provider, that pissed me off. And I almost wanted to say F you. Because older man, that should be okay. But for a young man, that's a hell of a lot of pressure. And that's a biased statement, an entitled statement to say for a young man just starting out, especially if he comes from nothing. That's what upset me about that video. And if you saw the people saying, well, she's right. Technically, yes, she's right. But being a provider in 2001 versus today is two completely different worlds. You could have made 80,000 in 2005, maybe 75, and you would have lived comfortably. Now in 2024, no, that's not realistic. It isn't realistic whatsoever. Can't happen. All right, and I'll get to the comments in a bit here. Can I ask, what about couples that both come from nothing? I mean, if you're going to team up together and build your empire together and work together, then that's awesome. And again, if I want to reiterate this, I don't hate her platform. I don't hate her. She does give some good advice, but she has been leaning a little too far right. And she's been on a lot of shows, and that's too much for my comfort. I'm not going to go into politics, but you know, when you go into like, she's more or less on board with the Harrison Butler guy from the Kansas City Chief, who believes that ideal, that upbringing is what people need to go back to. I grew up in the nuclear family age when it comes to my families, and that kind of worked for some families. It didn't work for most families. I recall a lot of the families were divorced because the wives felt like slaves. There's this one friend of mine, I tell this story all the time. This guy worked construction. And I remember I was playing the Sega Master System at his house, right? His dad comes home and his wife and my friend drops a controller and the husband walks in, gets on the love seat, puts the recliner back, the recliner, right? He puts his leg up and his wife jumps under her knees and starts untying his shoe while his son is untying the other shoe. And he's just there. He goes, "Where's my beer?" And she goes and runs and gets the beer and hands it over to him. And the son and the wife are massaging his feet. And I'm like, I got to get the hell out of here. I don't want to get in trouble. But yeah, they would massage his feet. And then she would bring over the TV tray and bring over a dinner plate and he'd eat. And afterwards, he took her to the restroom. They showered and he had his way with her. And then he went to bed. She ended up divorcing him after 10 years because she was sick and tired of depending on him and being a slave, being a Zeg's slave and a maid. But again, that's the nuclear family. That's a dark side that a lot of people don't like to talk about. But I saw that firsthand. Not all men are not like that. I want to be clear. But for a lot of them, they ended up in divorce because they were sick and tired of dealing with that shit. So again, to each their own, whatever works. But again, that's what the cost is, which you would need to bring in, right? Now, let's talk about the national average, right? The national average, I told you everybody earlier, the national average income was $59,384 a year. This is what the national average was. And again, I mentioned what you needed to bring annually was $76,176. So right now, the national average, we are short $16,792. That's how short we are. We're almost short $20,000, of $16,000 based on the national average. So we're not cutting it. The averages should at least equate to at least a baseline, but here, no, there's a huge discrepancy. $16,792 is a difference for just the basics. The basics is what I'm talking about. Monthly, it's $1,402. That's how much we're short per month. And I can tell you, like, again, if I just went over the annual, the monthly, the cost needed was $6,300. The national average is $4,900. So right now, the national average monthly cost is short $1,402. And that's when people are going and doing the side hustles. They're opening accounts on Etsy, right? They're delivering food for DoorDash. They're doing things like that to make up for that $1,400. So it is hard. It is hard right now. There are people graduating from college with their master's degree that are like 26, 27 years old and getting jobs that are paying $45,000. That's almost $10,000 short from the national average. So how do you expect a young couple, a young man, to be able to provide for a housewife in today's economy? Now, again, I know there's exceptions. There's that one guy, oh, my husband has a business and that. Yeah, if your husband is self-employed and doing his own thing, hustling, then bravo, you got a good man, you take care of him. But for the rest of us guys who went through college and did our own thing, is just pretty much near impossible nowadays. It pretty much is. And again, everything I just broke down, everybody, is just the cost of you and your young, pretty wife. So that's it. Now, this is what I didn't include in the monthly cost. All right. I didn't include vacations, gym memberships, the student loan payments, medical expenses, private or special needs schools tuition for your kids, your TRADWIFE allowance. She needs money to go spending, right? She needs money. Makeup, nails, hair, clothing. You need clothes. Subscriptions to Netflix, Max, HBO, credit card debts, home repairs. They happen. Things come up when you least expect it. Insurance deductibles, car maintenance. She's going to be running over those curbs. You're going to have to buy a tire every few months, which a tire, depending on your vehicle, can vary. Prescriptions, home security, ADT, and of course, diapers and formula and baby clothes. So I didn't even go into the other items. I didn't talk about furniture, your bedroom, shampoo. I didn't even talk about that. I just talked about the bare essentials of what's needed to survive. And then those are this right now, what you see on the screen here, everything I just said, that's pleasantries. That's if we have the money. So, yeah. So I don't know what makeup you're going to, makeup is expensive. You ladies tell me how much makeup costs. You guys have the whole bathroom counter covered in it, right? I don't know. I'm just teasing, but yeah. How much is makeup? I'm sure it's not cheap. How much is it to get you? How much is it to look like her? If you want to be dolled up like that woman up there, she works out, right? She got implants. How much does that cost? She's disclosed that. How much does it cost to look like that every day? That costs money. Again, I'm not hating on her. She's very marketable. She found a niche and people are falling for it. So good for y'all. But it's not cheap to look that way. She does have to go to the gym. And makeup is not cheap either. This lady says, my lip combo alone is 3 products. That's $112. You see, I don't know the first thing when it comes to makeup, but if that's just your lips, what about the eyeshadow and like that white palette you put underneath, the white foundation you put underneath above the makeup? Ladies, I'm gonna ask the ladies right now, if to look dolled up, to have the eyeshadow, lipstick, foundation, everything, how much does a woman have to spend to have all that makeup? Just give me a total number. You don't have to break it down individually. I'm curious. I spend at least $500 to renew my day-to-day makeup products. $350 to $500 a month on makeup. And wow. And that's not even like the nice makeup, like the Kardashian makeup. You see, I don't know anything when it comes to makeup, but again, I bet that's not even including the really expensive stuff, right? And oh yeah, I'm not including waxing and eyebrows. You see, it adds up. You see, guys, it adds up. To have a stay-at-home wife. So you're going to have to be making a pretty penny to even consider that idea. So is it fair to say that some of us aren't providers? We don't have what it takes? Is she right in that comment? I know cops, police officers here in San Antonio that are working OT, off-duty jobs at car dealerships, things like that, where they meet the Sancha. I didn't say that. But I know cops that work off-duty jobs, and a lot of them are bringing in about $80,000, maybe 90, maybe $100,000. $100,000 20 years ago for a cop was like he'd have that nice F-150, that Raptor all primed up, lifted, all that stuff. But not anymore. So you're saying cops don't have what it takes to be providers? I know firemen who are making comparable money. Firemen's were all, those are the worst cheaters, by the way. Ladies, don't ever date a fireman. But yeah, firemen make the same money. So you're saying firemen don't have what it takes to be providers? God forbid a teacher. Your husband's a teacher. There's no way in hell he can afford you. There's no way in hell he can afford to have a stay-at-home wife, a teacher. Teacher salaries, in my opinion, need to be way higher than they are now. It takes money. Lady saying filler, Botox, lip injections, things like that. This one lady says, Jazz says, it's possible we live in California, make $75K, 3 kids, homeschool, and stay-at-home wife. And again, I don't want to say that it's impossible to do this. It can. You can be frugal. You can make ends meet. You can do all that. Absolutely. It can be done. But you're going to be hurting. There's no time for pleasantries. There's no time for just the fun stuff. And let me get to some comments real quick. Let's see here. Janelle says, when I left my job and we lost my income, he was making 60 to 70K in 2018. We finally broke into 6 figures in his late 30s, but that's both of us working his business. We are now solid upper middle class. Well, good for you. And I'm working toward that. I really am. I'll meet you there one day. Let's see. Emily says $100. Let's see. $100 every couple of months. I don't need much. Depends on the woman. With 1 kid in college, I don't feel like we're living any life of luxury at all. So I know people making less that are hurting. Wow. Yeah, here's another one. Even if I got more credentials, even directors are barely making over 100K at labs. And that's with years of experience. Yep. My friend Cody says, my wife has a 4-year degree and she barely makes enough above the average. I was working 60 hours a week with no degree and barely made more than that average. Wow. And I know you're working construction doing things. So there you go. Without YouTube being supplementary income that I have dumped a ton of time. Yeah, I get that. I don't think we would be able to afford rent or eventually our house. Yeah. And that's with 2 incomes. Again, So again, the idea of so to all the young men, let me kind of recap here. So to all the young men listening out there, if you're considering to get married, you're in college, you're about to graduate, and you think you're just going to go and grab the world by its lasso, put it in your pocket, you might. But realistically, I urge a lot of young people right now to not get married, because I'm not saying don't love each other, but just the idea of marriage and all this expenses is just ridiculous right now. And to put that much pressure on a young man is insane. And what I want to get into real quick is that there's some women in that one video that I made and that kind of went viral. And they were saying, well, you just do what it takes. My dad busted his ass and worked jobs left and right and provided for me and my mom. I'm like, I get that in the 90s and 2000s. I'm going to tell you what happens in the later stages. Because again, I'm 47. I was that young man too, ambitious, taking up over all the overtime I wanted to provide for my family, to try to attempt to be and give my wife that stay-at-home mom life. You know what happens to a lot of young men? You bust your ass. You bust your ass, right? And you're working all these hours and you're thinking, I'm putting food on the table. My kids are eating. My kids are doing this. But you know what? You know what the most heartbreaking memories are for me looking back as a young father is me kissing my kids on their forehead when they're sleeping at 4 a.m. when I go to work, and coming home at 11, kissing them while they're asleep in bed. I never saw my kids. And I lost the first 7 years of their life doing that. And I hate myself for missing out on that, because I was all about money. Now, some of y'all, I don't give a shit. I'm doing what I have. No, it's going to hit you when your kids are older and they move out and you look back, man, they were only in my life 18 years and I missed 7 of that because of work. So technically, I only had maybe less than 11 years with my kids. And after they move out, you don't see them much anymore. So you're going to have to live with that guilt and that pain that you missed out because you were working your ass off. That is one thing that a lot of women and a lot of people don't talk about on social media. Being a provider for your family, there's nothing more fulfilling within a man's life to provide for his family. If you can provide that life for your family and not have to sacrifice seeing your kids grow up, then God bless you. I mean that. You're in a great position, and I wish you and your family the best. But for us who have to work all these jobs and this and that, we're missing out on a lot. And it's going to kill you when you're older. And if you're young in your 20s thinking it doesn't bother you, look at me. I'm telling you, it's going to kill you. And you're going to hurt later on when they're older. It really is. And another thing that we're not talking about that people need to really start addressing is men are literally working themselves to death. A lot of guys are falling over dead because we're working and trying to provide that stay-at-home life for their wife and kids. And it shouldn't have to be that hard. It really should, especially for a young man out there. It shouldn't be. But yeah, this is what this article says here. A new study published by the American Heart Association journal, Circulation, Cardiovascular Quality and Outcomes, found that being stressed at work isn't just bad for mental health or our social skills. The significant impact of stress on the heart means that people regularly dealing with work strain may be at risk for heart problems. The study followed more than 6,000 white-collar workers without cardiovascular disease over an 18-year span. During the research, observed a startling conclusion. Stress is a factor that contributes to heart disease, especially for men. Men who are stressed at work were 49% more likely to develop heart disease than those who weren't. Left unaddressed, stress can lead to adverse health effects like increased blood pressure and even a heart attack. So men are dying providing for their families. They're dying. Well, what happened to your husband? He had a heart attack. What? He's in his late 40s. He's in his late 30s. He had a heart attack. We're killing ourselves providing for our families. So I know you're young, you feel invincible. You may look great and feel good, but that stress, I'm telling you, as an older man, and if you listen to my podcast, you know, there's some wisdom here with I've been there and seen that and done that. Not just me, but I've seen lots of young guys like you who thought they can just take over. A friend of mine I graduated high school with died in COVID. Heart attack. A friend of mine who's been busting his ass. He's 46. He got a heart attack last week. Scared the hell out of me. So you're listening, I'm not gonna say your name, man, but I've been thinking about you. It's really just had a really an impact on me where I need to start losing weight. So I've been running a lot. I've lost 3 pounds, by the way, if you haven't noticed. But these are like the effects of us kind of busting our ass that we're living with now: high blood pressure and risk of heart attack. So men are killing themselves providing for their family. So again, the reason I'm sharing this with you out there, again, if you're getting married, I want you to understand what happens 20 years down the road. Okay. I want you to know the upfront cost, the realistic upfront cost of what it costs to have a wedding, to get an engagement ring, to support a family, what you actually need to bring to the table to support a family. And again, this is just the cost of supporting one human being, your wife. You throw some kids in there. Anybody who has kids knows how expensive kids can be. They eat. It's another mouth to feed. That's insurance. And with autism and on the rise, all of that, and you may need to get a kid some special speech therapy, counseling, things like that. There's so many variables that come into play. So you need to be making a lot of money to support a family nowadays. And I guess that's why a lot of people have given up on the idea of having a family. I hate that if it comes down. I mean, there's other variables that come to that decision, but I hate the fact that there's a lot of young guys out there, and women especially, that I can't afford a kid. It's a sad truth. A lot of people can't nowadays. That means a lot. I think most women would rather an actual partner both work out of the house. Yeah, and again, I totally get this. Like if you want to work, and again, I know a lot of us. There's a lot of women, like my fiance wants to work. She's brilliant and she's working. Yes, there's no way I would tell her she doesn't have to work. But again, that kind of pivots over to my next question, because again, when you're young and beautiful, like this one woman here on TikTok, there, like everything's working right. Your husband's great. You're both healthy. You're both gorgeous. Everything's working great. But when life hits you in the nose and things happen, which they always do, what then? In other words, what does a trad wife get in a divorce is my next question. What does she get? Because according to that Harrison Butler guy, he said in his speech that my wife's, I would not be the man I am today if it wasn't for my wife and her being the absolute wonderful wife that she is, right? So I guess technically, what does that mean? You've built a multi-million-dollar business. So technically, she's entitled to that, is what you're saying, because she made you the man she is today. Am I right? Right? So let me ask you this. I mean, what does a trad wife get in a divorce? Let's say, let's play a realistic game here. Let's say you're young and beautiful, like this one woman here. A couple things are going great. You have a couple of kids. Things happen, postpartum, weight gain, things of that nature. You distance, you grow apart, etc. I'm kind of speeding through the years now, right? And 15 years later, you got 2 kids. You don't look like that anymore. And again, things are different, and he leaves you for his 23-year-old assistant, which I'm only using that scenario because unfortunately that's the norm when it comes to trad wives. For all you young women considering wanting to be a trad wife, I suggest speaking to a few women in their late 30s and 40s who were a trad wife and just listen to them. That's wisdom right there. That's life experience that I would really take into account before saying I do and being a trad wife, because realistically, there's a 50% chance your marriage will end in divorce. How much are you willing to risk that on your husband? I know you're head over heels with him. I know you can't possibly imagine him leaving you for somebody younger. You're deeply in love. That'll never happen. What, are you serious? No. It can happen. It can happen. But if you're considering being a trad wife, I suggest talking to some older women who have been there and done that. Check that out. 1 second here. I want to get to some comments before I continue with the trad wife discussion and the divorce. Most cases, if you make one person to be the sole provider, they may find a way to make it work, but they're going to be non-existent in those kids' lives. Yep. And men also commit, I can't say the word. It starts with an S and ends in "ide." And they will feel like they're failing to provide. Yep. I'm in a 2-income household, and the stress at my last job gave me, wow. Really, Cody? Wow. I went months at the end hoping, wow. Thank you for sharing that, dude. Dude, you never shared that with me. Wow. And wow, dude, that's insane. Thank you for sharing, dude. But I will admit, I went through a deep depression. I remember because we had two kids, and I really wanted to provide my ex-wife that stay-at-home mom life. Because despite how it ended and everything about me, right? I did love her with all my heart, and I wanted to give her that life. And I remember I couldn't afford it, and I felt so worthless. And I went through a deep depression state that what Cody just said right there, not thoughts of suicide. I got to be careful what I say. I had never had thoughts like that, but I thought, well, maybe if I just get into a car accident and that $500,000 settlement will take care of them. I actually hoped that would happen back in 2007 because I really wanted to provide them that life. And I hated the fact that I was with this job for 4 years. I worked all this OT. I remember my kids going on Labor Day vacations with my in-laws, right, to the beach, and I couldn't fucking go because I was working OT, and I missed out on so many memories because I was trying to provide for them. And when I couldn't, the depression I felt was just the worst I've ever felt in my life. It sucked. Memorial Day, we're all going to the beach. I'm like, no, y'all go. I have to work this job. We need the money. I missed out on Memorial every summer holiday. I missed out. There's Halloweens I missed out on, and I promise you guys, if you're listening, you're gonna hate yourself for missing that. Don't do that to yourself. Figure out a way, man. Figure out a way to survive. And I'm being as totally transparent and honest with you as I can. It's gonna hurt you. It's gonna hurt you. And I really feel for a lot of the young men who want a family, but like I just went over the data and the numbers, you can't. You can't. I mean, again, unless you're coming from a good position, a good place of wealth, and you have a great job. Good for you, man. Good for you. Um, let's see. Economic structure. It takes. There's so many comments here. So hold on. Thank you for watching. Again, please, if you want to send a super chat, it all goes to the show overhead. If you want to send me any tips on TikTok, any flowers or roses, please do so. I would appreciate that. Hold on one second. TikTok has me wanting to verify me real quick. Who would even want a woman with no ambition? I don't think it's ambition. I don't think it has nothing to do with ambition. Just some women just want to be a housewife. And I see nothing wrong with that. Raising a family is a wonderful thing. Seeing your kids every day is a wonderful thing. If things were totally different, I know a lot of men who would love to spend time with their kids. And I know my generation, like my dad, and my, any Gen X parents, they were completely wired differently. They were wired to work and break their backs to support their families. And I hardly saw my dad. I didn't see my dad. I really didn't talk to my dad that much until he was older. And I had moved out because I got to see him more. But my generation, Gen Xers and on, I think even millennials, I think we understood like, hey, I didn't see my dad or mom that much, and I want to be involved more in my kids. I want to see them. I want to go to the sports events. I don't want to be that dad that's cliche, missing his son's sporting events. I want to be there. Every dad, every good man that I talk about and represent on my page and channel, they want to be part of their kids' lives, and it's heartbreaking that many of them can't because they got to go fucking deliver food for DoorDash, support their lives. It's heartbreaking. There can be adjustments. I totally get that. But it's heartbreaking when you can't and you're stuck there and there's no solutions, man. There's no solutions. But but again, every situation is different. Every situation is different. But I want to kind of bring it back over here real quick to the trad wife. Again, if it doesn't work out and he leaves you, because a lot of the trad wives I've spoken to, a lot of the women that have messaged me over the years doing this, they've all told me he left me for somebody younger and prettier because this is the ideal. Yeah, I'm pointing at this woman's picture. You can't see it here on YouTube, but this trad wife here, she's gorgeous. Any guy would love to come home to that. Damn straight. But you're going to get older and you're not going to look like that in 10, 15 years. And some guys are going to be like, you know what? Time to trade her in for a new model. And where does that leave you? Seriously, where does it leave you? What do you get? What are you entitled to? What are you entitled to? Honestly. in my opinion, let's talk about that kicker from the Chiefs, right? That's just not the truth in every relationship. Of course not. Every situation is different. And again, if you're listening to this, I know what I'm saying may not speak directly to your life, but I'm speaking to the people that have sent me their stories in the average. Okay. So if you, that's, again, I know that doesn't relate to you, then you're in good position. Great. Good for you. But I'm just talking about everybody else here. But what was I saying? In my opinion, the kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs, right? That guy, he's been all over my TikTok page. He said that he would not be the man he was today if it wasn't for his wife. And from what I understand, he's built a company with her since they've been married that's multi-millions. He's doing really well for himself. So, in my opinion, this is just me speaking from my honest opinion. If I marry a woman and I say, you know what, I want to build a business, you can run the books, whatever, but I'm going to bring in the money and I want you to raise our kid. And you both agree to that, fine. 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road, if it doesn't work out, in my opinion, that woman deserves half of that money. Because while you were building your business, you didn't have to worry about taking care of your kid, changing diapers, taking them to the doctor, leaving work early to pick up a sick kid at school. She's entitled to half of that. And again, I even told my fiance, as I'm building this root device platform, starting, today, I'm focusing on it now. If you're going to help me build it, if we get divorced, yeah, I'll take care of you. And I mean that because I grew up not having money. I have enough money to get by, but I've never been wealthy. So money's nothing to me. I'm going to make sure she's taken care of. And that's just me because she's raising my son. That's just the way I see it. But it's weird that most guys that I've seen, no, she's not going to get a dime. Or I don't understand that. If you have that arrangement and it didn't work out, she didn't go to school, she wasn't in the workforce, and she took care of a kid, which is pretty hard, especially with special needs kids if they have autism. It's exhausting, man. She's entitled to something. And if she helped you build that platform and ran the books and did whatever, she's entitled to half. And then I know that may be controversial to say, and most guys may not like that, but in my opinion, yes. Now, keep in mind, I'm not saying she cheated on you. Every situation is different. I'm saying if you just you're not attracted to her, and you're like, you know what, you don't do it for me no more. I'm gonna get somebody younger. She deserves something. She deserves a big chunk of what she helped build, and that's just my opinion. That's my opinion. All right, let's see here. There you go. Hey, thanks, man, Danny. Always good to hear from you, Danny. Even though I don't agree with you all the time, it's always good to hear from you. Say the moment you realize all the time, energy, and dedication you dump into a company isn't value at all, and you mean nothing to them, that's really a dark moment for a man. Yeah, yeah, I would agree. Uh, I was with I'll call them out. I was with USAA, the insurance company in the mortgage department for 12 years, and dedicated it. Like I said, worked endless overtime, volunteered myself for every project, trying to climb that corporate ladder, and I was terminated. They let me go on just these what, and it wasn't for anything major. It was just like they were just nitpicking and building a case with me. Once you have a manager who comes in who's not cultured to what the company is, and they start writing every little, like, you didn't cross this T and dot this I, they're building a case before you and they're making you look like your deliveries are not exactly what they're worth. And they're like, okay, well, you made this little mistake here. And you're okay. So they call out the one mistake and ignore the 100 things you did right. When you have that type of leader and they start building a case, before you know it, you get that call with HR. And it was heartbreaking. It felt like I was dumped. It honestly felt like a divorce in a way. That or like a girl like I was with for 12 years said, you know what, you don't do it for me no more. I'm leaving you. It's not good enough. It's heartbreaking. You realize, you look back like, wow, I was with that company 12 years and they just let me go. Just like that. It's heartbreaking. So again, to all the young men out there, and this podcast tonight, this episode tonight is mainly for the young men out there, because I've had some people say, Rudy, your content's kind of been like bashing women lately, and I disagree with that, but I can understand the tone of it being different, and I want to call that out. This whole bear versus guy thing, I understand the message it was trying to communicate, but at the same time, I just saw a lot of misandry online, and I have a son who's going to be 18, and just he's telling me he's a good kid. Trust me, I know he's a good kid. And just he's telling me how women are treating him, things are saying. I started getting like upset at like, why are they treating you that way? You're a good man. You're a good kid. Why they did what? So I started seeing a lot of things. And I guess that's why I started speaking toward that type of content. But this podcast is really aimed toward young men looking to get married. I'm not saying if you've given up on the idea of marriage because if you think women are trash, whatever the case is, I don't agree with you. There's just bad people out there, fine. But to any good man out there, if you're looking to get engaged, I would really hold off right now and just really think about this, because the last thing I want you to do is to get into a situation where you think you can do this. And before you know it, you're house poor. You're only working, you have no money to pay for anything else. You can only pay for that big house. And then you look at the walls, there's no furniture. She's going to want to get furniture and go to Kirkland's and do all that stuff. And before you know it, you're in debt. And now you're working a job you really aren't really appreciated in, and you're not seeing your kids, and you're missing out on life because you're clocking in. You don't want to be in that position. I would suggest, and this kind of ties to what I preach all the time, don't get married in your early 20s. What I suggest is work on your empire, whatever business you want. If I can give any advice to young men, I'd say start your own business. Like Cody says, you really don't get rich working for anybody else. I totally agree with that. Start your own business, do something, whatever that passion is, come up with something. Work on that for 10 years. And when you've got a stable income and you've got, resources and clientele you've built that trusts you, then explore the idea of possibly getting married and starting a family, because now you'll have the freedom and you'll have the means to support that. So again, because nowadays in today's economy, my daughter's in college, she's a junior. My son's about to get into the workforce. I'm kind of seeing it through their eyes. They want to move out and go to an apartment. And it's not like that before. You remember like those old movies you used to see where people would go to college and they paid for college while being a waiter at Pizza Hut or something like that. And they were able to get an apartment, like a little rinky dinky apartment in the hood. That's not even possible anymore. That's not even possible anymore. You can't work a part-time job, go to school and pay for tuition and your rent and living expenses anymore. It's not feasible. My son is actually considering getting roommates, him and 4 friends renting a place. That's the only way it could work. I'm like, wow, I would never do that when I was younger, but that's how kids nowadays are thinking. Like they can't do it alone. So they're going to get a bunch of roommates and rent a house. That's the only way to survive. That's insane. That's insane, man. Let's see. Let me get to some comments real quick. Troy, Sean, yes, I am on Patreon. Yes, you can. The link is in my bio. Just go there. You can find it there. So yeah, please do that. I'm looking to restructure my Patreon because again, I'm working on new tiers and I'm working on new coaching projects and new courses that I've been working on over the past few weeks. So just stand by on that, but I'll keep you posted. But yes, the link's in my bio. So again, thank you for the tip. I got to go. What was that? I got to go. It's not showing it. I got to go in the morning. Here's a good video. Thank you so much, Sean. I believe he's overseas. Let's see here. Janelle. Men, make sure you pick a woman who will stick with you through that. And women, pick a man you're willing to actually ride there for the rich for poor moments. She's right, because I also made a comment in that video that be careful with these women, that women up there that I'm mentioning. Be careful with the ones who just solely want to be a stay-at-home wife. Because not all of them, but a lot of them that I've heard about through my male following here, especially on Facebook, is that a lot of these type of women will leave you in a heartbeat if the moment things go bad. The moment you can't support their income, their lifestyle, their way of living, they're gone, because that wasn't part of the deal. In a way, it's kind of like a transactional relationship. I'm going to look this pretty, I'm going to look this hot for you, but you're going to provide me with a lifestyle that I'm expecting. And whatever that is, a closet full of Louis Vuittons and, all that stuff and the makeup. And I'm going to keep up this body. I'm going to look this hot. I'm going to look this good for you. But you got to support this life. And the moment you don't, the moment you get laid off, guys, the moment your business goes under, the moment you get hurt on the job, injured, the moment you get into a car accident and now you're changed. And I know this may be dark, but these things happen. You can be on top of the world things are wonderful. You both look healthy and handsome. And then something horrible happens. Like one of you is diagnosed with cancer. Whoa, what the hell did that happen? What if he gets into a car accident? Now, guess what? You got a limp. Your back is not the same. You can't make love to her the same way you used to. And I know this may be a little tough to hear, but this is a reality for a lot of men. It happens. I've told this story many times. I knew a guy who worked in the oil fields in Texas. This guy was making bank. I'm talking more than six figures, right? And this is like in the early 2000s. Six figures in the early 2000s, you might as well have been a millionaire. He had a hot wife like this woman here. Gorgeous. We're all, and I think we're all secretly envious of him because she was hot. Man, he gets to sleep with that old guy. All these guys, that's what guys talk. He gets hurt. He hurts his back in the oil fields. And they let him go because he was a liability because he can't do his job anymore. So now he's not making the money that he made before. And guess what? She left him. After 5 years of marriage, she left him because he wasn't providing her the life that she wanted. It happens. So Janelle here is right. And you've heard me say this too. You want to find a woman who's going to be with you for richer, for poor, for better, for worse, with sickness and health. You want that woman who's going to be at your side, helping you get through physical therapy if you get injured. And you want to be with that woman. And we've seen it in the movies, right? Like, especially in Selena, when you're doing well, you have a business and it goes under. And what do? They move to their Theo's house and live in the basement. if your wife is willing to do that and suffer through the poverty and kind of go from the lose everything, be poor, and then build up again, you got to keep her. She loves you, man. She doesn't love you for what you can provide her. She loves you for you. She believes in you. So that's a woman you want to keep. And if you have that, do not be a pendejo and let that go. Keep that. JJ, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. You'll still cheat on her. If that's your experience, and I'm sorry you experienced that. Maria says, I believe in my husband. Well, God, you're a good woman. He's a lucky man. Tell him Rudy from TikTok said that he's a lucky man and he better take you out to dinner this weekend and do something nice for you. All right. Tell him I said. Troy. All right. Hold on real quick. Troy here. My story, AT&T, good money. And without getting political, I was laid off when the CEO made a deal with certain prez. The deal was we will create jobs, but they just cut them for stock kickbacks. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. My mother-in-law actually retired from AT&T as an executive. She did well there. I'm glad my son listened to me. Trust no woman at all, especially Western women are horrible. Well, again, Danny, that's where we differ. Not all women are like that. I mean, not all women are like what you see on social media. I know there's a lot of good women out here. My fiance is one of them. So when I don't like to paint an entire demographic as in a negative light. Especially as me as Hispanic, no. Hell no, I'm not going to do that to a woman. No, hell no. But yeah, there's bad women out there. I totally agree with you on that. So are you anti-TRADWIFE? Well, I'm assuming you just jumped in. I am not. I'm not. Let me kind of answer that question again. I'm not anti-TRADWIFE. If you meet a woman and that's solely what she wants to be, and she wants to take care of your kids, I think that's a wonderful thing. I think kids need their mother. I grew up with coming home. My mom had me a sandwich. She helped me with my homework. My dad got home when it was dark. He was hungry. I hardly saw my dad. I wish I saw more of my dad. But I think every kid deserves to have their mom at home if that's what the wife wants. So I am not anti-TRADWIFE. I guess if I'm anti anything, I'm anti-economy right now. It fucking sucks right now. It's been getting bad over the last 10 years. It's gotten horrible. And I hate that it's going to be hard for my kids. Like I said, my daughter's 20, junior in college. My son's going to graduate from high school in 2 weeks. And I'm looking at their future and I'm really angry that it's got to be hard for them. It's got to be that hard. That's why so I'm not anti-TRADWIFE. I wish more men were able to offer that to them, offer that option to them. So that's what I got to say. All right. So again, everybody, I just want to reiterate, I am starting a new coaching program. So if you want to be on the wait list or join on my mailers, go to rootadvice@gmail.com and just sign up and put on the subject line, hey, I'm interested. I'm going to save all the email addresses that come my way. And when the program launches on the 1st of July, I'll let you know. But again, I'm really looking forward to making this a serious turn for me. More programs, more options available to you, and I'm going to have options for you to schedule one-on-ones with me if you want to talk to me, or if you wanted to have like be part of a texting chat group, you can do that as well. I'm currently piloting one right now with one of my members, and it's going really well. We've had some hiccups, and he called me on one of them, so I appreciate him doing that. So again, I'm learning how to handle this and how to manage all this. So that's going to be an option for you as well. So more to come, but just send me an email to rootadvice@gmail.com, and I will send you notifications on when it's available. Okay. I love being a TRADWIFE. My husband is the best. Okay, so let me ask this. Let me ask this to the women here who are watching. What does your husband make annually? If I know locations may vary, I know everyone's different. Yeah, I don't want his name or job description, but what does your husband bring in annually where you can be a TRADWIFE? I'm curious what that is. Let me get to some comments here while I'm waiting for those answers. Sarah says enough. That's a smart answer. Sir, what the hell? I support. What the F? I support. Hold on. I got to read this. I support 3 kids based on my hard work and master's degree when their bio dad isn't around. Good for you. Good for you. That's awesome. That's very good. My husband makes $160,000. He makes 165. I make 140. Also, you both work. Okay. Uh, 165, 100 to 125K, and live comfortably with luxury with a family of 5. My Mexican ass, 3 baby mamas, 100K a year. Don, what the hell, man? Put a Jimmy on that shit. So 50K. How do you do it with 50K? Oh, over 150K. I honestly, I mean, I grew up, my parents made less than 20,000 a year. So I can understand living. Hell, I remember government cheese. I remember all that shit. So I remember all that. But nowadays, like, I can't imagine that. And I get it comes to money management. So everybody who's listening to all the young men out there, it looks like it's 160, 150, more or less confirming what I said, what you need to bring in annually to support a TRADWIFE and kids, about 165 and 100,000 a year. 50K doesn't even cover food. Let me ask you this. Are your husbands in blue collar fields or white collar fields? Because I know a lot of blue collar men make bank, but they're never healthy. They usually die first, and they always are in pain. So someone says blue collar, one says white, one's a welder. Everyone's saying, yeah, welder, plumber. That's awesome. And that's one thing I was telling my son as far as like, consider doing a trade, welding, electrician, or plumber, because they make damn good money. So young men out there, if you're listening to this, consider a trade. There's nothing wrong with that. With hell, AI is going to be taking all the finance jobs in about 5 years. So I wouldn't go into finance. That's going to be extinct when AI really kicks in and Skynet takes over the world. But there's always going to be a need for welding, unless we have like nanobots out there making buildings. I don't know, man. But anyway, we're always going to need a welder. We're always going to need a plumber. We're always going to need an electrician. So I would say look into that. I mean, hell, I think that's a smart idea. I know a lot of plumbers and a lot of welders locally here in San Antonio who are making damn good money. Just buy a van, some tools, and boom, put your name out there. Hey, I got a cousin who can do this. Get your name out there, and before you know it, you got your clientele. Well, not for long. When Skynet takes over, I'd really look into what AI is going to be doing to the job force in the next 5 years, Janelle. It's scary. It's going to be scary. Let's see. Charge 150 to 200 an hour to 80 per guy I bring to my jobs. Yeah. The wrong woman will spend more than you make. Hey, thank you for the flowers. I appreciate that. Thanks for the tip. Again, any tips are going to go to the show, everybody. So I appreciate anything you want to send my way. I really do appreciate that. And now, since I've already covered the topic of the TRADWIFE, so I'm going to go. We've been live for about an hour and 25 minutes. I'm going to spend the next 30 minutes of questions. So send me your questions via the chat on TikTok or on YouTube. And again, if you haven't done so already, I want you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, be a subscriber on my Facebook page. I really want to focus on this. Like I said, I'm going to be head on with this. Hey, thank you for the woo! I never get animations like this, man. Check that out. I appreciate that. I'm really going to be working forward to this, and I hope to really be speaking to a lot of men. The core basis of my programs that I'm working on are really going to be helping men get through divorce. Because honestly, when I went through it, you know my story. I was by myself. I was abandoned by a lot of people, and I don't want men to go through that. It sucked. If I can provide a community for men to kind of be part of that, whether it be a breakup or whether it be a divorce, I want to provide that community, that safe community for them to be in, and we support them. So that's going to be my main focus. Ladies, again, I'm considering. And my fiance is helping me with this. I'm considering helping, maybe having a dating advice program for women, or something else. Maybe like whatever women like, whatever you think you would want to hear from me. I know that I phrased that wrong, but what do you, if you feel like I can provide a service to you, let me know. But I think dating advice from a male perspective, anything, marriage advice, marital advice from a male perspective, I think is pivotal. So again, I would consider that as well. But yeah, more to come. I'm going to build a decent catalog. Dan, really rooting for the end of us. I don't want to do that. I'm just saying, I watch a lot of 60 Minutes, all right? I watch a lot of programs, so I kind of see the writing on the wall. But let's see here. Lucy Diamond says, I guess for most men to have a trad wife, it would be 120K and up depending on the area you live. Yeah, that's what we can. That's the basis we've come to here. And again, if you want to watch my entire live, this is going to be broadcast on. I mean, it's going to be up on Facebook and also on YouTube. You can watch from the beginning. I break down the cost, the monthly costs, annual income, which you need to bring to support that as well. So all that will be present. Would a trad wife imply she doesn't own her own house? That can, I mean, it depends on who's on the title, right? I mean, if she's married, technically she owns it, but she didn't pay for it. She just married a man who financed it. So I don't know. Everyone's situation is different. How do regular schmegular people even afford a divorce? It depends. My divorce only cost, what did it cost? $3,000. My divorce was very cheap. And again, that was a very amicable divorce. The ex-wife and I didn't hate each other. We just said we're going to do what's best for the kids. We had the same attorney. And again, it wasn't a dirty divorce. It wasn't like you've seen others. It was a very healthy, clean divorce. And again, for what it's worth, I love her for that. I really do. Put some background music real quick. Yeah, but again, I totally get the women who say they want to make their own money. I'm all for that. I mean, having everything I just talked about right here, if both of you are bringing in $80,000 or both of you are making $100,000, you're going to live. It's going to be the bee's knees for you. It's going to be awesome. You're going to be doing fine. If you're both making over $100,000, you're going to be fine. But again, sometimes life events happen. You have a kid, maybe they're special needs and you want to take care of them, so you have to quit. I don't know. Things happen. But again, for a trad wife, a traditional wife who is dolled up like that, which is not realistic, by the way, that is just an idea. That is just a Hollywood idea of what a traditional wife looked like. The Cleaver wife, the Leave It to Beaver wife. Real housewives didn't look like that. A real housewife who's going to be cleaning toilets and cooking all day, she's going to be in some sweats and in one of your t-shirts. She's not going to look like that. And again, what's the point of a woman being that dolled up and that pretty when she's never seen you and you're at work all day? So it's like, yeah, I don't buy it. I don't buy that idea. We make 180K combined and still living paycheck to paycheck. I get it. I totally get it. Yeah, but there's no way your trad wife is going to be looking like that when you're at work. And on YouTube, on TikTok, you know what? I'll show the photo here. Let's see if I can find it here. Let's see. What the hell? Let's go to the beginning. And my mouse is acting up. Her. She's gorgeous. I'll give her that. It's a great product. It's a great product and it's a great look and it's a great idea. But realistically, your stay-at-home wife is not going to be that way. Maybe on weekends when she sees you all day. But if you go to work at 8 a.m. and you're gone all day, she's not going to be dolled up like that with you can't even see her. And when she's going to be cleaning and mopping and sweating and doing whatever else and cooking in the kitchen, making you menudo and whatever else. She's not going to look that way. She's not. Traditional housewife. Thank you for answering that question there. Thank you for the $5 tip there, Troy. Random question. What is that on screen top left? Is that Art the Clown on top of some Nightmare of Sid? Oh, okay. I love movies, by the way. That's Art the Clown from the movies Terrifier. And here is the Tar Man from the Return of the Living Dead. My fiance purchased everything you see behind me. So she knows I love movies and she spoils me with that. So I love that woman to death. I love her. I love her. My husband used to wish he came home to me all made up like that. Every husband, look, ladies, one thing you know, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm never going to lie to you. Every man wants that, okay? Every man wants that to come home to. She's gorgeous. Come on, I'm not going to lie. I'm not hating on her. I hate what she said and how she phrased it, but she's gorgeous. Who wouldn't want to come home to somebody like that? And when you go to the family friends barbecue and everyone has their wives, everyone's going to be looking at her, man, look at that. Cody's got the hottest wife. They're going to be secretly hating. Man, I bet it's fun, in the bedroom with her. Ha, ha, ha. Every guy wants that. If they say they don't, they're lying. They do want that. But it's not cheap to keep that or maintain that. All right? And women with that usually come with some obligations, right? Hey, if you want me to look like this, I'm not going to work. I know I've seen some of them on social media. If I have kids, I want the mommy makeover. I want the tummy tuck. It's going to cost money. And if you're bringing in $60,000, you can't afford one. You can't. A TRADWIFE is a stay-at-home wife. Okay? So you got to be bringing in money to afford the gym memberships, the makeup. Ladies, you tell me. We already talked about makeup like this would cost $500 a month, right? Right? What does that hair cost? To get your hair done like that? I don't know. Shut up, Troy. It's from Return of the Living Dead, the zombie, man. Come on. My husband thinks I'd be happier as a TRADWIFE, but he says that as we're working together, so maybe he just wants to fire me. That's awesome that you and your husband are doing well and have a business together. I really do appreciate that. Hair and makeup is not $500 a month. She shows her own makeup. No, earlier in the chat, women were saying the cost of makeup is about $500 a month. So I'm not making this up. You ladies told me that. At least the application brushes are expensive. She's young and she will age. Yes, I know. That's a good question. Somebody's asking on TikTok, everybody, that if your wife made 200 and 300K a year, would you be a stay-at-home dad? Fuck yeah, I would. I would. I'm not going to let any of my chismo pride get in the way of that. Hell no. No, I mean, if the arrangement was there and it made sense, I'll take care of the kids. I'll learn dance routines like in that one movie, Magic Mike. I'll look good. Hell yeah. I'd be totally down. I'd give her the fantasy. I would. I wouldn't take it as a hit toward my masculine side. No, it just worked out. I'm gonna look good. I'm gonna look hot. I'm gonna have abs. I'm gonna learn ways to make love to her different ways, and make her reach the big O in so many different ways. Hey, honey, I learned this book. Do like seductive dance and all that, man. So hell yeah, I'd be totally down for that. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Blondes get their hair done every 6 to 8 weeks, at least 150 up to 500 each time. So again, it costs money to look that way. I totally get that. I totally get that. Yeah. So become a trad husband. No, I got too much in front of me here. No. That window has passed, but you never know what life, never. Dude's $500 for makeup. Someone lied to you. They're saying it in the chat, Sarah. I'm not making this up. The chat is telling me this. So everyone keeps asking what a trad wife is. It's stay-at-home wife. But everybody, again, on Facebook and on TikTok, thank you for being partial. Send me your questions here. I got another 20-something minutes of questions to answer. Send them my way. And again, share the live. And again, please subscribe if you haven't done so already to the YouTube channel. If you want to become a channel member like my other channel members, I really would appreciate that as well. Like I said, everything goes to the overhead of the channel. And again, my YouTube channel members, Sean, Troy, and Dario, you're the best. My Facebook subscribers, Dar, Melissa, and Blair. Again, I appreciate the hell out of you all. Thank you so much. You're the original trilogy. You guys are the holy trilogy of the origins of this whole thing. So, FYI, yeah, thank you for that. I will never forget that. I will never, ever forget that. You guys were there at the beginning. I think I spend $1,000 on makeup per year. Okay, that doesn't include skincare or treatments. Okay. Everyone's different. I get that. TRADWIFE is just a modern term for stay-at-home mother. Yes, that's right. Yeah, we covered the cost on that, everybody. Again, I know we're kind of repeating ourselves, but yeah, we covered the cost on that. And we've come to the conclusion that you would need a minimum of $150,000 a year to support a TRADWIFE. Minimum. And again, I don't know what 25-year-old young man who's out of college and engaged to his college sweetheart who's making that. If you are, share some secrets. Seriously, I don't know what you're doing. But again, if it's in finance, I mean, my God, your days are numbered because, like I said, AI is going to be taking a lot of that. But it sounds like it's mainly blue collar, like plumbers, electricians, and welders, which is pretty cool. Let's discuss divorce rates. 50% of marriages end in divorce. Oh, let's go over that real quick. I shared this on my Facebook page. These are 17 reasons why marriages fail. And I am going to read them over real quick. And just keep in mind, I want everybody to keep in mind here that where did these reasons come from? I'm glad you asked. It came from you. It came from my TikTok and Facebook following. It came from the messages you sent me. So, yes, it came from that. Hold on real quick. Troy, did I get this? Okay, again, thank you for the tip there. Did I get all the super chats? I did. Thank you so much, Troy. Always good to hear from you. But okay, these are the reasons why, the 17 reasons why marriages fail. Okay, let me share screen so everyone could see it on my page here. Hold up. Here we go. All right. Reason number 1. I was too young to get married and didn't know what I was getting into. Reason number 2, he or she was horrible in bed or didn't want to have sex. All right. 3, he or she became curious what it would be like to sleep with somebody else. Number 3, from what I've seen, and I've got hundreds of these stories saved, is the person or woman, man or woman, who got married at 21, 20, and they've only slept with one person. And usually around the 30-year mark, and again, I'm basing this on averages, they become curious on what it will be like or feel like to be with another man or kiss another woman. And that leads to why the marriage failed, because they act upon that idea. Am I married? I am engaged. I was formerly married. I was married 16 years and got divorced. 5 years later, I became engaged to my love witch. So yes, they were curious on what it would be like to sleep with somebody else. And the curiosity usually comes with new options, because usually the baby weight has dropped. They're starting to find themselves. The guys lose weight. The women, get the tummy tuck and get the boob implants, and they're hot. Because you gain weight when you have a kid, right? That's just natural. But then you start losing the weight. Before you know it, you're in your prime. You look great, and you start getting attention, and that's when the curiosity comes about with what men and women have told me. So there you go. Like, wow, I could never attract a woman like that. Whoa, she's saying she's gonna do that thing that my wife hates to do and she wants to do it. That's tempting. There you go. You lost me. I don't care. I don't know if you're talking to me, Sarah, or not. The next question is the next reason. Reason number 4. She never experienced an O with him. Apparently, a lot of you young men out there are horrible in bed, and you can't get your wives to the big O. And some of these women have gone years without having it. That led to the failure or divorce, because every time she brought up, try this instead, you got very defensive about it and got mad at her. So that's reason number 4. Reason number 5. He or she lost weight and cheated. Again, that kind of correlates to what I mentioned about the new attention. My husband is wonderful in bed. Well, good for you. That's awesome. Y'all communicate with each other, and he does what you like, vice versa. I hope it goes both ways, sweetheart. I believe in TRADWIFEs, but now do you know if she was an investment or a loss? You'll never know. That's a great question. Reason number 6 is that she got implants and cheated. This happens a lot. This has always been a staple since the 80s and 90s. She got boob implants, again, got attention, and she left because she got a new suitor, somebody more exciting. Number 7, he got a promotion, changed, became cocky, and he left me. That happens too. People just evolve, right? And I don't want to say evolve, but they go into a different status. They're making money. They're doing well in the corporate space. And before you know it, they're speaking differently. They're acting differently. They see the world differently. Maybe they change political sides because of the new income that's bringing in. I've seen a lot of my Mexican cousins do that. So like, weren't you a Democrat? You support Trump now? Really? Like, okay. Oh, it's because you're rich now. Okay, I get it. So it can vary, okay? But people change. All right. Number 8 is that he or she slept with my best friend. Yep, that happens. That happened in my case, right? I've retold that. I've retold my story. Everyone knows the truth now. It's pinned on my page. I did admit that I did cheat. Everyone knows that, but she cheated first with somebody that I considered a friend, and I thought getting even would make things better. And guess what? It didn't. It made things worse. So getting even, everybody, doesn't work. Number 9. He was secretly addicted to corn. Apparently, there's a lot of men out there, that aren't really vocal with what they like and what they watch on these websites, which I will say with my fiance is a cool freedom that I never experienced. She knows what I watch. Sometimes I send her the clips like, hey, check this out. And, let's try this later. So I will admit it's cool having that intimacy and freedom with your partner. But again, I've been married and understand that is not realistic in many places. Like if your wife knew you watched that, she'd probably get mad or upset or considered it cheating. There's a lot of things, right? But yeah, he was addicted to watching that. Reason number 10, he or she was bisexual and was living a lie. Apparently that happens a lot of the times too. You get married young, you haven't discovered who you are or what you really like. And you think you're straight, but then 8 years go by and you're like, you know what? I'm really this. And the other person can't handle that. So marriage is in. Reason number 11 is they grew apart. Became different people. That happens. That's why I always advise people to always wait until you're at least in your late 20s, early 30s to get married, because the person you are in your early 20s compared to the person you become in your 30s is totally different. You change. Lucy Diamond says communication is so important before and during the marriage. I agree. A lot of people don't like to communicate because they don't want to upset him or her. Number 12, he got injured at work and was never the same. So she left him. That happens more often than you think. She got cancer, and I couldn't see her in that state. So he left her. That happens a lot. I dated a few nurses here in San Antonio, and they always told me that was heartbreaking to see a nurse, see somebody. Nurses tell me like, man, she just found out she had this or that, and their husband filed for divorce. I see that all the time. Somebody says these are so specific. Are they symptoms or the real problem? Maybe the real problem, because a lot of people will say, "Oh, it's finances, so we don't get along," but they're telling me the truth. I mean, these are honest confessions that people send me, so they have no reason to lie. So I think these are the honest truth. Especially, he's horrible in bed. Would you really tell your husband that? No, he probably would get upset about that, right? You probably would get mad. So you don't want him to get upset in front of you because you'll feel like maybe you're in danger. So you keep that to yourself. So these are real stories from real people. 14, he or she got fat, and I wasn't attracted to him or her or him anymore. It's the truth. Number 15, I fell in love with somebody else. It happens. 16, his or her parent died, and they were never the same again. They changed. She wasn't fun. He wasn't the same person. He was different. I don't love this person because they changed. 17, this is from a guy, you can tell. She never wanted to give me a Bravo Johnson. If you don't know what a Bravo Johnson is, take the first initials of each word, first letter of each word, and there you go. And again, the following was provided by you, my TikTok and Facebook following. And there you go. Thought I'd share that with you real quick. All right. So again, we got 10 more minutes of questions. Let me continue on. What is the cost? We talked about that, $160,000. Yeah, and we're good. But everybody, I hope you enjoyed this live. Again, I really do appreciate everyone's patience on this. There will be more lives. I've spoken to the fiance and worked out the schedule, especially with the kiddo and all. It's going to be every Wednesday moving forward. No B is a wild reason for divorce. It is, but can you imagine not being married at 33 and she hates giving them? She loved him at one point, but she hates him now. Could you go your entire life without getting one? Could you? Ladies, let's talk about physical needs, right? If there is a physical need that you loved and your husband refused to give you that physical need, is it fair for you to live your entire life without that physical need? Right? What if he didn't like performing, I can't say the word, but the oral actions for you? There's some guys that love it. There's some guys that are scared of it. So if he hated doing a thing for you, a physical need, and he hated it, could you go your whole life at 33 years old not ever getting that again? So now you understand what a guy thinks. If you hate giving the Bravo Johnsons or the special attention down there, that's something essential for every guy. That's just I'm being totally honest. Yes, Troy, I'm not going to put that on the screen. All right. Colonel Lingus. Yeah. From that SNL skit. So, yeah. So that's why guys like, you know what? I'm just going to go. A lot of guys, you know what they do? They go to a masseuse parlor and just say, you know what? It's not even emotional. It's just, she's going to do this real quick and I need it because the wife doesn't want to even look at it or touch it. Is that cheating? If she stops giving sloppy toppies so early, it's a sign that the man is lacking emotionally. Okay. I think guy needs to evaluate where he's going wrong if that's happening. What if he's doing everything right? What if, and this happens, she has a kid and she's just not turned on anymore. She's going through another type of postpartum hormonal thing. And she just, right now, I'm not into it. Then what? Do you expect a guy to go his entire life without getting to Bravo Johnson? I don't know. Somebody says yes. that needs to be in the fine print of a marriage. We're not, and you know what? For most guys, it's important. We don't want it every day. Well, some of us do, right? But it's but once a week is fine, right? What's wrong with that? I mean, hell, guys are more than happy or willing to perform whatever you want. Just tell us, we'll do it. Then she's not in love. Ooh, ooh. You sure it's not love? I don't know. But anyway, those are the reasons. That's why I'm sharing them, because again, whether you agree with these reasons or not, they are reasons. These are reasons that you sent me. I didn't make this up. These aren't my reasons. These are yours. So take it for what it's worth. Let's see. A woman's intimacy starts outside the bedroom. I totally agree with that. Yeah. Every morning before I go to work, bravos. That's what you receive, or that's what you're requesting. I don't know. Again, every subject is different. Everyone's situation is different. Yes, scared. But real quick, I'm gonna end the live. Hold on, TikTok. I'm in the live here on Facebook and on YouTube. Everybody, thank you for so much for watching in the YouTube and Facebook page. Again, if you want to sign up for my early coaching programs and want to be on the waiting list, please do so by emailing rootadvice@gmail.com. I will save your email address and I'll send the catalog out July 1st, and you'll be the first to sign up for it if you'd like. It's going to be very limited capacity initially at first because I want to pilot this, but you'll be the first on the list if you send me your information. So please do so already. And again, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate your time. Please subscribe, follow the podcast on Spotify, on any platform you're listening on, YouTube, Facebook, whatever the case is. I would appreciate it. Until next time, everybody, God bless. I'll see you next time.